Hey everybody, today is December 20th. Today we're going to talk about the price of Bitcoin. We're going to talk about whether Bitcoin could find support at this level at 47,000 and push up higher, or whether Bitcoin is going to lose this support level and plunge even lower, perhaps even into a bear market. Before we begin, please read the disclaimer and you can pause this video as you read it. Okay, so let's talk about why Bitcoin has been crashing lately, right? The stock market has been crashing since November because of the Omicron scare, right? We can look very quickly. You can see we sort of peaked in November, and then we came back again, tried to break through all-time highs, but crashed again, right? And this has been putting a lot of downward pressure on Bitcoin because Bitcoin generally will follow the stock market, especially in the Nasdaq, because Nasdaq, like Bitcoin, is a risk-on asset, right? A lot of institutions that are getting into Bitcoin right now, they're treating Bitcoin as if it were like a growth stock, right? Like a risk-on asset. So when institutions are risk-off, like hedge funds, they want to remove risk from their profile. They're going to sell their Bitcoin, right? Another reason is that the dollar index has been high, very high this whole year. And Bitcoin generally is inversely correlated with the dollar index. So when the dollar index rips up higher, that puts downward pressure on Bitcoin. And the dollar index continues to go up higher. So we want to see the dollar index pull back a little bit. And it should be pulling back, right? Because we're seeing a bunch of inflation and the dollar being devalued through excessive money printing. But the reason why the dollar index is high is that the dollar index value comes from its value relative to other basket currencies. So other currencies aren't doing so well, right? Of course, the Turkish lira lost like 50% of the value. Different currencies are experiencing massive inflation, massive money printing, some even hyperinflation, like Turkey, like Venezuela, Argentina, stuff like that. So as long as the dollar continues to go up higher and continues to be strong, that's going to put downward pressure on Bitcoin, right? What are the reasons? Hash rate is still not at all-time highs, but it's still recovering. It's doing pretty well, but it's not at all-time highs. And we want to see this hash rate go back to all-time highs and break new all-time highs for us to be more confident that the price can sustain a rally to the upside, right? So those are the fundamental reasons. Let's look at the technical reasons, right? Why is Bitcoin going down? Well, it's simple. Bitcoin keeps making lower highs and lower lows. Like if we zoom in from the peak that we had in November, 69,000 right here, right? Bitcoin has basically just kept making lower highs and lower lows. Like it has not even like been able to make a higher high, which is, it's very disappointing, but it is what it is. You got to look at the chart and trade based on the charts, right? We haven't been able to make a higher high or a lower or a higher low, right? However, we do have some good news is that right now, if we look very closely, it does look like Bitcoin is trying to not make any more lower lows, right? We're trying to build a base of support over here. So the question is, are we going to bounce up, perhaps come down, retest, and push up higher? Or are we just going to break support? I think right now, Bitcoin, if it has a shot of building a base and forming support, it has to do that right now. Because if we continue to make lower highs and lower lows, that's just going to give bears more confidence to take aggressive short positions. And that's going to overwhelm and push the price down even lower, right? We already had this huge flash crash, and everybody's talking about how we're going to retrace this entire wick, right? Like we did earlier this summer. And that's possible, but we really don't want to see that. We really want to see us hold this level. Why? Because, of course, we have the support at Fibonacci and also our 200-day simple moving average, right? 200-day simple moving average is just this blue line. In a strong bull market, the price of Bitcoin will stay above the blue line. And right now, we are below it. Or actually, no, we're above it right now. Just barely above it, but we've been below it for the last 2 days. And I'm actually surprised that we haven't crashed down lower, because usually when Bitcoin breaks the 200-day moving average, like we did early this summer, it tends to crash pretty hard. So that's showing that there is some resiliency from the bulls. They're putting in orders right now to try to fill in any sell orders too. They're trying to keep and defend this level, right? To absorb any supply from crashing the market down lower, right? So the bulls do have some confidence. Also, this Fibonacci line over here at 47,000 is a strong Fibonacci line of support over here that we had early this year, right? But when we broke that support level, we crashed very hard, and then we came back up in August, September, and tried to flip that into support, which we did temporarily. But in November, we came down, and we couldn't hold this next Fibonacci level, and we came down. And now we're trying to hold this as support. We're trying to test this as support, and if we can hold it, I believe that we will see a rally back up, and we'll retest this resistance level at 65,000 and see if we can push up to new all-time highs, right? But for now, we got to take baby steps and take it one day at a time, right? We want to see the price of Bitcoin hold above the Fibonacci line level and above the 200-day moving average, right? Which is roughly $47,200. We want to see Bitcoin we want to see Bitcoin finally make higher highs, right? Starting with 50,000, right? 50,000 and ultimately breaking 52,000. If we can break this level, I believe Bitcoin can rocket higher, right? But at the bare minimum, we have to stop making higher lows, because if we keep doing that, that's just going to give more confidence to the bulls to just push the price down, with aggressive short positions, or just sell their core holdings, which is going to be bad, right? We don't want to see Bitcoin keep going down. Oh yeah, 50-week simple moving average. Historically, when Bitcoin breaks the 50-week simple moving average, like we did over here, it tends to enter a bear market. So this was 2018, right? We go back to 2014 over here, when we broke below the simple moving average, we entered a bear market. So right now we are below it, right? So we need to get back quickly, right? We did something similar happen earlier this year in August. We broke below it, we closed below it, but we quickly bounce above. So we need to quickly bounce above, perhaps something like that, because the longer we remain below the 50-day moving average right here, right, the more likely we are to enter a bear market like we have in the past. So that's something that we need to think about, consider as we plan our trades, right? The possibility that Bitcoin, personally, I don't think Bitcoin's going to enter a bear market, because we've basically been going sideways this entire year. And usually when Bitcoin enters a bear market, it's usually after things have been very overbought. After we had a parabolic rally, right? We're just going like straight up, right? And we did have something similar over here, but we corrected through time, which is basically going through sideways, rather through price, which is a huge, 80% plus retracement, right? So right now I am looking pretty bullish on Bitcoin, especially the fact that it is having a nice recovery right now and trying to defend 47,000, because we said there are two major support levels, the Fibonacci and also the 200-day moving average, and we must defend that level. So the next couple of days, we're going to see if we can put in higher highs and perhaps higher lows, because we haven't done that for like over a month, right? I mean, seriously, since the all-time high, we haven't had higher highs or even higher lows, which is pretty devastating for the bulls. So the bulls need to put in some work and push and make higher lows and higher highs, and really just give bulls more confidence to take more aggressive long positions. Because right now, if you look at the volume, right, every green day is on low volume, and all those volume become faded because the bears have confidence that if they launch aggressive short positions, the bulls can't do anything to stop that. So this is going to keep overwhelming the price, right? We see the oscillators are actually looking somewhat bullish, potentially, right? We have a green histogram bar print, which means that we see a cross in these lines over here for the MACD. And so this generally is a positive sign, but it can be a false positive, right? Right here we cross, and then we cross back to negative. So if the price continues out lower, this cross will be invalidated and will go down. So what we want to see is more buyers coming in to push the MACD up higher, right? And that's going to give more momentum to the upside. More bulls more confidence to take more aggressive long positions. RSI actually touched 30 a couple of days ago, earlier this month. So generally, this is a good time to buy and a good signal that the market has bottomed. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the price can't go lower, right? Earlier this year, we had the RSI hit 30 over here when we had this huge flash crash down, but we still kind of bounced around when actually technically went lower, right? 28,000. So is it possible we might see something similar over here? Part of me feels like, yeah, it is possible, but it's also too easy of a trade, right? It's too easy for people to see and say, oh, well, I'll just keep shorting this. But I do think that, and copy this trade, where I think that the best scenario that would like destroy a lot of people who think that this is an easy trade is just for the bulls to just send it up, right? So, but for me, I think realistically, I think that bulls will continue to defend 47,000 and then put in a support level, push up higher, right? Lastly, let's look at the crypto fear and greed index. Still a lot of fear, right? We're seeing a lot of fear that we saw similar to this summer, similar levels of value, and for a similar length of time, right? We're down here a lot longer than we were when we had our correction in September, right? Where we just kind of went down for a couple of days and then push up higher. I do think that if we can cultivate support and defend 47,000 Fibonacci and 200-day moving average, especially now, you see these two lines. These are short-term averages, moving averages that are about to cross. Last time we saw a cross like that, we already had a plunge in the price, right? Also below the 200-day moving average, and then we just bounced around for a long time. So we don't want to see that. We don't want to see this cross and then us still stay below the 200-day like we did back over here, right? stay below, and we were basically below the 200-day moving average for a long time. If that happens, I can see the price just coming down in no man's land, going sideways with really no direction for a while until the bulls have their confidence regained. So we really need to see bulls come in aggressively long, put in higher lows and higher highs, right? And just send the price back up like we saw over here and also over here, right? Sort of messy. Over here and also over here, right? Because don't forget, like Bitcoin looks really bad right now, but it is still possible. Bitcoin is capable of very like parabolic moves that just will blindside people. So obviously this is like the fact that we've been spending so much time down here. I would say the probability of this is a lot lower than it was like maybe over here, but it's still possible for Bitcoin to reverse, especially if the stock market recovers, right? If the stock market recovers, and I have a video on the stock market that you can watch, and we recover very quickly. The dollar starts to come down a little bit, right? Dollar, in my opinion, is overbought. Then we can start to see Bitcoin, which I believe is oversold, to make a nice recovery going into the end of the year and perhaps into January of 2022. So right now, I don't think that Bitcoin is in any danger of breaking into a bear market, at least anytime soon. But we're starting to see the smoke, right? The fire hasn't started yet, but we're starting to see, little sparks, little smoke, right? The 50-day, the price is below the 50-week moving average. We're below the 200-day, the Fibonacci. Like we have to stay above and continue to cultivate support and just absorb supply from the sellers and just push up higher, right? And we have to start to make higher lows and higher highs, right? Because we're still in a downtrend. We're almost in a descending triangle, which will eventually break down lower if bulls do not come in and start to defend and push the price higher. Okay, so we'll definitely update you going forward and see if the bulls have what it takes to defend this level and push up higher. Because if we don't, I fear that we will continue down lower, probably break past 40,000 and then all the way down to 30,000. So let's see if the bulls have what it takes to push the price up higher, and we'll continue from there. If you found this video helpful, please like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe for update. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate all your support. Thank you again, and have a great day.